Hey everyone, Josh here from Fresh Start Customs, and today we're going to be taking a trip to Menards together. I'm going to show you how you can source your own material for your Glowforge, whether you own a truck or a car. The preferred method is going to be with a truck, just so it's more stable, but I'm going to show you a trick how you can cut this down on your own for your car as well. And then I'll show you another trick as well to make it a little bit more stable than what I did in the video as well, and we'll go from there. So before we get started, this is going to be the material that we're going to get. This is called natural maple with an MDF core. This stuff works well for boxes and photo engraving on the top here. There is one issue with it. I'm going to go ahead and get into that at the end of the video, so make sure you watch till the end before you make the decision to buy this. So what we're going to need is a few tools before we head out to Menards. I'm going to go ahead and link various different types of these tools that would work as well below. So what we'll need is a circular saw. As you'll see in this video, I'm going to use that to do the cutting here. We're going to use a straight edge. It's going to be like a metal straight edge to use as a guide for that cutting, that circular saw. And then we're going to have a pencil or a pen. That way you can actually make the mark on the wood where you need to cut. And then very last, you don't need this, as you'll see in the video. I have a different way to do this for you if you have a car. But if you can bring these along, you're going to get a fold out sawhorse. So what you're going to do, those are like little cheap plastic sawhorses that you can get the fold out. It'll make the wood a little bit more stable, but obviously you're going to have to move it as the wood gets smaller. But I'll show you a way around that if you don't want to put that in your trunk of your car. So let's go ahead. We're going to head out to Menards, and we'll catch you guys there. As you guys can see, we're pulling into Menards now. You're going to want to park at the very end of the parking lot where there's less vehicles. That way you're not taking up any parking spots, so you can cut this down easily. We're going to be headed straight to the wood section after this. As you guys can see here, you're going to grab this blue cart. We're going to roll over to the wood section. There's going to be a yellow tag that says natural maple panel, as I'm going to show here in just a second. As you can see there, it's $33. It'll come out to like $36 after tax. Grab one of those and let's head out to the parking lot, and we're going to cut this down. As you guys can see here, I've got the back end of the truck in this photo. If you have a truck, this is going to be the preferred method. You can just hang it out of the back of the truck, just like I have in this photo here. Measure out your measurements that we're going to get into in just a second. Cut it right on the back of the truck. That way it's a lot more stable than that cart, because those carts kind of rock back and forth. If you don't want to rock it back and forth on that cart there, this is where those plastic sawhorses that I was talking about is going to come into play. But let's go ahead and jump back over to the cart. I'm going to show you guys how to do this for your car if you have a car. So as you can see, we are on the cart now. I'm going to measure out 20 inches. That's where I'm going to make my cut line at. I'm going to measure that on this side here. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure that on the other side here. You can always walk around, but I just leaned across here. And as you can see, that cart just rocked. That's what I was talking about. It rocks back and forth. Now we're going to make another measurement. This is going to be about a 4-inch difference from the metal saw that's going to be guiding on the guide itself. So it's going to be about 24 inches for me. It may be different for your type of saw. So I'm making that mark too. And then what I'm going to do now is just line it up on that 24-inch mark. And we're going to clamp it down here. Once you have it clamped down, I'm going to go get the push this cart out from under where we're actually going to cut. So we're not going to actually cut that cart. This is where it gets a lot more wobbly. But if you don't have anything, this is what we're going to need. So I'm going to grab my saw now. And all you need to do is run that saw across this metal edge. I'm going to do a small cut here and then show you guys how it's cutting straight. I'm going to let off the cut here and show you that. And as you can see, I've got it all cut out there for us. Now what I did is I made that first cut and I just went home because I have my truck that I showed you earlier. I just make a 20-inch cut so it can fit on my 6-foot bed on my truck here. And then I bring it home and I measure out 20 inches on my table saw here. As you can see in this photo, I've got my 20 inches measured out here, and then I'm going to just run that the rest of those cuts on my table saw because it's much easier and much stable than that cart or standing out in Menards parking lot. But if you don't have a truck, like I said, you can go ahead and do the steps that I just showed. Just cut out those 20 inches and then repeat the process for 12 inches. But on my table saw, as you can see, I got it marked out for 20 inches. So I went ahead and cut those. And after you cut those, you're going to get about 5 boards here. One's going to be a little bit shorter than 20 inches. It's going to look kind of like this here. And then after you have those 5 boards, you're going to go back to the table saw or with your circular saw out in the parking lot, and you're going to measure out 12 inches, or if you want it thinner, you can measure out whatever measurements you want. And then I'm going to run it back through the table saw and at the 12-inch mark. And once we're done, you're going to have a nice pile of wood that looks something like this here. You're going to have quite a bit, probably around 16 sheets that are going to be 12 by 20, and then you're going to have 4 sheets that are a little bit thinner than the 20 inches there. But all in all, you get quite a bit of material from this at a pretty affordable price. And that's pretty much the entire trip to Menards. I've got a last little bit here I want to talk about, and we'll jump into that. Alright, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the trip to Menards. I hope you got some helpful tips on how to get cheaper material for yourself so you can cut it down on your own. Now let's talk about the one bad thing about this material. As I mentioned earlier in the video, and hopefully you watched until now, the one bad thing is on the opposite side, you're going to have potential B grade or lower material, which would be these knots, these giant knots that are in the material. So you're going to have to actually design your design around those knots. So if it's a box, that'll still work well because you can design around that knot, have that on the inside or the bottom of the box if you don't mind people potentially seeing that. If you do mind it, then you're going to waste that material there and it's just going to be scrapped afterwards. But the good thing is it is cheaper material at that point. But potentially, if you're going to be designing this and giving this away on a box and somebody doesn't want that giant knot there, that's the biggest downside. One other thing that you want to do with this is you can also use 130 speed full power on your Glowforge. I've never had an issue with that as long as your lenses are clean and your air assist and fans are clean as well. So that is the settings that I use for the cut on this, and then I just use the maple thick proof grade photo engrave settings, and that works well as well for this. Now, if you don't like that giant knot on this side, I am working with a potential supplier who could get something quite similar to this and quite similar to actual proof grade material that is A grade on both sides. It'll be unfinished just like this, but it's pretty easy to finish some clear finish on this. If you guys are interested in that, let me know before I actually go out and place an order, because it's going to be a larger order that I have to do in order to source some of this to send out to people. So if you're interested in this type of wood that would be grade A on both sides, let me know. It'll probably be around $7 this size of a sheet versus like Glowforge's $16 to $18 of this size of a sheet. So it'll be significantly cheaper. That's just the cost that I would have to sell it at in order to get it shipped out to you guys. So if you guys are interested in that as well, let me know. Otherwise, if you want to source this from Menards, like I said, this works well. You just have to worry about those knots on the other side. That's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you guys next time. If you do want that material, let me know on Facebook. Just message me, and we'll go from there. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.